Now for a business roundup then with our editor, Charlotte Pellegrin. We're starting with the launch of a new rival to Twitter, Charles.
That's right, Aaron. A new rival, and perhaps the biggest one yet. It's been launched this Thursday. It's called Threads and is operated by Meta, the company behind Facebook and Instagram. And compared to other platforms trying to benefit from discontent on Twitter, like Blue Sky or Mastodon, Threads has the advantage of being connected to Instagram and its reported 2 billion users. Twitter, meanwhile, has a user base of over 250 million people. The new platform is now available in over 100 countries, though not in the European Union, where it is waiting on regulatory approval. CEO Mark Zuckerberg says Threads logged 10 million signups in the first 7 hours of operation, including celebrities like Shakira and Chef Gordon Ramsay, and brands like Netflix, HBO, Billboard, and NPR, National Public Radio, actually stopped using Twitter in April after being labeled as state-affiliated media by the platform. One of the many controversies that have roiled Twitter since Elon Musk took it over in October 2022, including turning blue check verification into a paid subscription model and limiting the amounts of tweets that non-paying users can see.
All right, we'll see if it survives longer than some of the other rivals. Then, Charles, another big business story today was, of course, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's visit to China.
The former head of the U.S. Federal Reserve is expected to arrive in Beijing later this Thursday. The visit is meant to stabilize troubled ties between the two rival superpowers, who are also each other's biggest trade partner. Hawkish voices in the U.S. have called for a decoupling of these two economies. Yellen, though, has previously said that full separation of the two economies would be disastrous. The visit comes as Beijing and Washington are embroiled in a tit-for-tat battle over semiconductor supply chains, with the U.S. imposing curbs on exports of advanced microchips to China and China imposing curbs on the export of materials required to make those microchips, all in the name of national security.
All right, Charles, let's take a look then at what's happening on the stock markets this Thursday.
Well, the major European indices have opened lower this Thursday. This after minutes from the June meeting of the U.S. Federal Reserve were released showing that the pause in rate hikes announced in June is very likely just a temporary pause and more rates are expected. The FTSE in London down 0.8%. The Paris CAC 40 down over 1.2%, and the DAX in Frankfurt down 0.8% as well. We're also seeing all the major Asian marketplaces trading lower at this time. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong leading the losses with down 3%, and the Nikkei in Tokyo closing the session down 1.70%.
Finally, from you then, Charles, heavy showers have been covering parts of India in recent days, bringing some much-needed relief from an extreme heat wave.
That's right, and the high temperatures had a significant impact on the country's blue-collar workers, who struggle to complete projects on time as they have to take breaks from the harsh conditions, understandably. Studies have shown that India's frequent heat waves are a growing burden on the country's agricultural sector and its economy as a whole. James Mulholland explains.
This woman is hard at work, laboring in temperatures over 35 degrees. Here in New Delhi, the humidity makes it feel like 50 degrees. She doesn't start work until 10 a.m.
Sometimes I feel dizzy. I work slowly, but I have to keep working. If it's too hot, I take time off. If I don't rest, I'll have a hard time in the days after. So I have to.
It's also difficult for her employer, who still has to meet deadlines.
We have to hire extra workers, but they ask for more pay. They get thirsty and stop working to drink water. There's less work done.
The extreme heat takes a heavy toll on the economy too. Extra breaks means millions of working hours lost each year. Some analysts predict this alone could lead to a dip of 2.5 to 4.5% in GDP through 2030, which would amount to $150 to $250 billion.
One of the things that can be done to mitigate the impact of heat waves is to adjust working hours. Early start, like say 6 a.m., might save a lot of them from the heat.
A study by Cambridge University predicts a 15% decrease in outdoor working capacity during the daytime due to extreme heat by 2050. It says heat waves could become so severe that people could be at risk even when resting in the shade.
And finally, from you, Charles, we're one step closer to seeing flying cars in cities like California.
That's right. Baby steps, though. We're nowhere near Back to the Future Part 2, but California-based Aleph Aeronautics has been given limited certification by the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration to test fly its own flying car model called Model A. You can see it there. It can go do a vertical takeoff and fly over the bridge, the San Francisco Bridge, as you can see there. The company expects the model to be ready for purchase in late 2025 with a price tag of $300,000. Take a listen to CEO James Duchovny.
Even before Henry Ford, people tried to do the flying cars, right? And they received some kind of certification. Here is a traditional car, which looks like a car, drives like a car, parks like a car, was allowed a takeoff, a vertical takeoff. So first time something which is a traditional car, and on top of that, an electric car, was allowed by U.S. government through FAA, a vertical takeoff for the limited purposes. But that means that flying cars in the traditional sense are now recognized, at least by one government.
So there you have it. Flying cars coming from a guy who comes from the Matrix series.
Yeah. Okay, we'll leave it there for now. Charles, with Business, thank you very much.